Oh, absolutely. I'm so glad you brought it up. It was, wow, the way that you wrote these questions, I'm like, you already am saying exactly what I'm thinking. I have never played on a little boat like that before. Honestly, I would love to say yes, but absolutely not. Less is more. That's always like such a good one. And I'll just start doing diva diva diva, and then no one's gonna even know.
So this is my last question.
Already? What? I'm so sad. No.
Once and always. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Once and Always a Fanboy with me, your host, Chris Cantada Force. You might have first heard her viral hit, Fall in Love Alone, or maybe like me, you saw her guesting on Scary Pockets and thought, who is this singer? With her debut album, Blessing in Disguise, my guess is in her new era. One that's honest, raw, and entirely her. And for me, I think it's her best yet. So today, we're talking songwriting, instruments, and her brand new album. Fangirls and Fanboys, Stacey Ryan.
That was the best intro ever. Literally, I can't stop smiling. That was so cute. Oh my gosh, I am so happy to be here and to talk about everything album and my new era. Literally, you summed it up perfectly.
Great.
Thank you so much for having me. When my manager was like, "Chris wants to have you," I was like, immediately yes. I was so excited to talk to you again.
Awesome. So just like I said, one of the first times I've heard your voice was through Scary Pockets, and you were surrounded by some seriously seasoned musicians during those sessions. As someone who already plays multiple instruments and arranges your own music, was there a little trick or unspoken rule you picked up from those jamming sessions with that crew that made you go, okay, noted?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just being in the presence of people who were so like cool and collected, but so like musically smart and um creative was like such a cool place for me to be in, especially like when I was doing this like 3 years ago when I was like just out of school and kind of just fresh to LA, and I was really picking up like the music world here. So it was like crazy experience. I definitely learned a lot from those sessions and those jams. Less is more. That's always like such a good one. And just, like also be confident in your ability and like know what you got and like show that, but find a balance. But yeah, no, I love all those guys, all those musicians that I had the pleasure of working with. It was incredible experience.
And then I finally got to see you live during your Manila tour. That was a very memorable day for me because the traffic was terrible and I almost thought I wouldn't make it. I actually missed maybe a song or two, but I got to watch obviously the majority of the set. Looking back, what's one Manila memory that still lives rent-free in your brain? Like something random, chaotic, or magical that could only happen on tour?
Oh, so many. So many. Let's see. I specifically my one of my favorite memories of being in Manila was performing Fall in Love Alone on the gondola inside the mall.
Oh, yes,
That
yes.
was like I have never played on a little boat like that before. And then there were people watching and cheering and filming. It was like so incredible. I remember just being like, how is this my life? And I mean, I just also remember I was gifted a giant purple boba stuffy, like probably the size of like a sleeping pillow, and I was like, "I need to bring this home with me. Like, it is very important that I bring this home." And I did bring it home. I bought a whole extra suitcase for it.
Oh, man.
Yep. So those are my funny little memories. I mean, there's so many more, obviously.
I heard also that you took drums for a semester. Is that correct?
I did, yeah.
Which already makes you way cooler in my book. As a drummer myself, I wanted to ask if it's something you see yourself digging deeper into, or is it more like a casual go-to stress reliever when you just want to hit things?
I actually haven't played drums in a really long time. I think the last time was when I took that class, and but I kind of think it's like riding a bike. Like those I've learned very basic. And so I think if I sat behind a kid, I could probably still figure it out. But I would definitely see myself like after this album comes out and after the tour and after the craziness that will be probably the whole end of this year. Because I'm kind of like I'm playing the bass a lot more now, so that's kind of the next instrument that I would like to not master, but like get really dive deeper into, and then drums could be after that, who knows?
So I asked because I was curious if your sense of rhythm influences your phrasing as a singer? Like, is there a little bit of a drummer brain at work when you sing?
Honestly, I would love to say yes, but absolutely not. All I see in my brain when I sing is, like, the piano keyboard. So I'm seeing notes
Oh.
like that because the piano was my first instrument, so I always, like, wanna see, like, and understand what's going on musically, so I visualize it a lot. So that's kind of what I see, but I definitely like playing drums definitely just helps me be more like rhythmic and just my phrasing, not only when I'm like improvising, like in jazz, but also just singing regular phrases. You know, it helps me like lay back a little bit and like be more in the groove, you know, so it definitely does help.
It's so cool that you mentioned that you imagine like a piano in your brain. That's very cool.
It never goes away. So it's like cool sometimes, and then other times I'm like, I don't know, I'm hearing a song and I'm like, oh, this is in B flat. So now this next chord is E flat. It's just like it's so nerdy, but I love it. And that's what makes me me, you know?
So I've been listening to the songs from Blessing in Disguise, and Good to Be Alone has been on repeat. It's definitely one of my favorites. So this whole project feels really personal, and I imagine creating this album, especially with you fully at the helm this time, must have been a special kind of experience. Since going independent, have there been things, big or small, that fulfilled you in ways that the label system just couldn't? Like moments that made you go, ah, this is what was missing.
Yes, definitely. It's hard for me to like pinpoint like exact things. I think it was more of a global like feeling and realization that everything that I was doing just felt closer to me and more personal because there was really no one else that I had to go through to do it, you know? Like all that connection that I'm making with fans and like I was literally designing the back cover of the vinyl today for Blessing in Disguise because I no longer have a team with graphic designers, but then I was like, I got to design my first ever vinyl cover. Like, how cool is that? You know, so it feels like in ways like that, it feels like so much more special because I had more of like you're saying at the helm. I love that expression because it does feel true. Not that like when I was putting out music with the label that I felt like I was connecting less with my fans or anything. It just always felt like I had to ask permission to do anything. So now I don't.
Has the way you write or maybe release music in general changed now that you're not trying to fit into someone else's strategy or timeline?
Oh, absolutely. I remember in September, I think it was 2023, we kind of the label was like, "Hey, maybe we should pivot a little bit on the songs we've been kind of doing. Maybe we should go more jazz." And I'm like, "That sounds amazing." So I started writing more jazz, which is so natural to me and so like it's in my brain and blood, like it's always there. And I really did love that direction that they pushed me in, you know, like it wasn't always bad or like a tough situation to be in. But when it came to like I finished an album. I had an album finished at the end of 2023 or beginning of 2024. And I was like, this is gonna be my debut album. And obviously with the label, everything happened. You know, we left the label and immediately my songwriting did change. Like it's like this whole event in my life that had never like something to this degree had never happened to me before. So I feel like I went through those emotions for the first time and that helped me uncover like a deeper level of writing. Like I was really going for honest, like hard hitting things that you know, that I had not written about yet. That album that we had, that we were gonna give to the not give to the label, but we were gonna like, "Hey, ready to go," is now I think there was only 2 songs on that album that made it onto the
Wow.
actual Blessing in Disguise because I just went on this trip of, like, writing songs from this deep place inside me, and then we were like, "These are all amazing." Like, there was 1 week we wrote, like, 4 songs for the album in a week, and we weren't even trying. I think that's what it was.
Was there a song on this album that you're releasing that scared you a little to write or release, but you knew you had to include it?
Oh, absolutely. I'm so glad you brought it up. Homewrecker, I was terrified to write that song. I remember it was that song, I think, that kind of unlocked a little bit of me, like, really diving into very, like, emotionally difficult things that I went through that I was kind of scared to talk about because of how just all closely related my art and my life is, you know? So, like, for me, it's because like songwriting is very vulnerable. And I'm like, this is maybe the thing that I wrote about in Homewrecker was the thing that hurt me the most in my like life, you know? So it was very scary to actually write the true way I was feeling about that situation because, you know, it wasn't an easy situation. It was so far from it. And so many people are affected because we're all, you know, and I remember writing it. And every time we said a line that was really good, I'd be like, oh no, I'm scared. I don't think we can put that in. And then they're like, yeah, but that's why it's good. And then I was like, okay, okay. And then we'd write another one. I was like, oh my God, I can't. Like, it's just every line that kept coming out because it was so real and honest and raw. It was so terrifying. But I remember being so excited to finally say that that song could come out because I was kind of like, not like reclaiming the power, but I was no longer scared. When we were putting it out, I had like, I guess, grown and lived with it so much that I wasn't scared anymore. So growth.
As someone who plays multiple instruments, how do you decide which one you write or perform a song with? Is it emotional, practical, or a bit random? Because as what you said, I see you perform with just a bass guitar sometimes. So does playing bass change how you sing? Like, does it lock you into a different rhythmic pocket?
Absolutely. I would say for the first part of that question, how I write songs on different instruments, it literally you said practical, random, or and I was like, it's all of those. Sometimes I only have a guitar. Let's say I'm traveling and I don't have access to a keyboard or something, and I'm like, I feel inspiration. There's the guitar. That's all I got, you know? But sometimes if I'm at home and I have access to any instrument, sometimes I'll sit at the piano and that'll like depending on what instrument I start on will change the outcome of the song just because of and I only really have written on piano and guitar so far. I've never tried to write with just bass, which I think I could probably get around it. Bass is the instrument that I'm still like the newest at. And because I'm playing a rhythmic line, like instead of like chords, I've always been great at playing chords. Like to accompany myself, piano, guitar, chords on lock. But then when the bass line came in, having to play something that I necessarily wasn't exactly kind of the same with what I was singing, then I was like, this is a whole like new world that I've never like been in before musically. So I think it does change how I sing because I'm still learning how to like kind of separate, like be very autonomous while playing bass and being like, this is just like the guitar or the piano. And then I'm, you know, just whatever, singing all the way up here. Um, but we're getting there.
So this is a bit nerdy, more for me, actually. But have you started writing a song on one instrument, then finish on the other, and then it just suddenly clicked? Or were there some songs that you just had to go back to the first instrument that you wrote it on?
Definitely. When Sweet Talker, when I wrote that song, the way that song kind of happened, I wrote the chorus like in my bedroom on my guitar. Like I just had my acoustic, like it was on my bed. I picked it up. I wrote the song because I was feeling very inspired. And then I brought it into a session and we started adding, yes, still guitar, but we added a lot more like keyboard elements and like choirs. And that's when it really did come to life. So maybe it wouldn't have been just a guitar song. It's not, you know, it ended up being a everything song. Fall in Love Alone, actually. So we started it on the piano. That was always it was and the piano that you hear in the like the version that is on Spotify is the demo piano from the day we recorded it on like a Nord, just like Nord keyboard with a piano preset. Because when we did re-record the piano in an actual studio, I thought that the Nord sounded better, so we ended up going with that. But during the editing process, at one point, that beginning walk up was an acoustic guitar. So it was almost not the iconic piano that everyone knows and loves. It was almost actually, if I had time, I would like, actually, maybe I'll find it and I'll send it to you, but I would look it up right now, but that's probably too hard to find.
So do you usually write with a clear concept in mind? Like for this album, was there like a one theme, one concept, or does the story just reveal itself line by line as you go?
It was, wow, the way that you like wrote these questions, I'm like, you already am saying exactly what I'm thinking. You're like reading my mind. So for Blessing in Disguise, every song on it was very intentional. Not like the way I chose them, yes, but the reason why I chose all these songs is because I went into the writing session or I wrote the song at my house or something and I had an idea and I was so dead set and inspired on that idea and the song that came out of it just like I obviously love them. They're all my babies, my songs. But like these 11 in particular were just like I can tell you like from beginning to end, well, maybe not every single detail of every story because we'd be here for 10 years, but every song on that album, it takes me back to a time and a place and a person. And I can like describe the whole story for every song. And while I was writing this music, again, it was after the label situation happened. So I was kind of unsure of what direction I was heading in. Um, I was writing all this music and going back then after I had written this collection of songs and I'm like, okay, debut album time, like, what's it going to be? Because I didn't go into it with like a theme at like the start of it because, of how crazy it all was. But when I looked at all these songs and we were like trying to think about album titles and stuff, Blessing in Disguise, when it came to my mind, I was like, not only does that make a lot of sense because I use a lot of, like, imagery about being in disguise, like the devil in disguise, you were in disguise, like, a lot of things are disguised, right? And, like, secret or hidden. Um, but then blessing in disguise is kind of like that, like, the ironic thing of being all these songs are like lessons that I was learning at the time of them happening, like Homewrecker and Good to Be Alone and all these things that when I was in the moment of them, yeah, maybe I wasn't feeling the greatest or I was hurt, like, severely emotionally. But now looking back, I needed to live all those experiences to be who I am now and, like, have the emotional experience that I have now. And so looking back, I'm like, these were all blessings in disguise that I didn't know.
So, since this show is called Once and Always a Fanboy, what are you currently fangirling over at the moment? Could be
Oh my
a
gosh,
TV show,
so much.
food, a book.
I love Jessie Reyez's new album. I guess it's not like new anymore, but I am still so obsessed. I feel like she's kind of inspiring what I'm writing right now, which is I'm not writing a ton of music right now because I'm definitely in album mode and promoting and all the tour and stuff. But I'm just like I want to get into a more like I wanna, like, talk, rap, sing. I don't know, I just wanna, like, be creative with it because she's so good at that, and I just, like, love her storytelling too. The new Justin Bieber album, I really, really like it. I have been streaming it, watching let's see, I've been really loving Building the Band on Netflix. I don't know
Oh,
if you've
yeah, I haven't seen it yet. Yeah.
Okay, you should really watch it. I feel like it's super cute and they're all like it's kind of Love is Blind meets X Factor because they all meet and they don't see each other and then they're in a band and it's really and it's musical too and they're all singing and the performances are really great. Okay, you know what? I've been really loving doing the New York Times crossword. I have been like, I'll show you my history. I'm not that good because I only do like the Monday and the Tuesday and the Wednesday are the easiest ones, and then they get harder and harder and harder. As you can, if you look at, oh my God, this is so funny. So see, these are only Monday and Tuesday, and if you keep going, I'm so bad. But wait, there's actually a month that I did so good. Hold on, I'll show you, and then we will not look at this anymore. Look at that. I was on my grind.
I didn't know every day had this level. It gets harder.
I didn't know that either, until my roommate used to date a girl who, like, loved crosswords, and so I learned all of that from her. But yeah, I love all the New York Times games, the Wordle, the connections. I pay for the games every month, so
So you got to play
that's why I do it.
it.
I have to keep my brain sharp with the crossword.
Since you've playing solo on stage more often, has there ever been a moment where something totally didn't go your way, but no one in the audience noticed because you're just that good at going with the flow? Is it weirdly freeing to be up there by yourself and know that you control the ship, even if sometimes there are leaks here and there?
I literally can't because every question, like, I literally was gonna say I like being on stage alone because I have control of the situation just in case anything goes wrong. So you just basically, again, took the words out of my mouth. But no, I think there's such a beauty in being like on stage alone and like, because yes, bad things have happened. They do, like, sometimes I forget part of the song. But then maybe no one will notice because I'm like, oh, I'll just add a scat section and I'll just start doing diva diva diva, and then no one's gonna even know. Um, but then it also that can is beautiful in itself because I just like added this section that did not exist before that I've never done before, and that's kind of like the magic of improv. So it can go both ways for sure.
Out of all the songs, like all the songs you've released so far, is there one that just hits differently when you look back on it? Maybe because of the experience writing it, something special that happened during the video shoot, or even the way it unexpectedly connected with people that shocked you.
Honestly, I know it's probably like I gotta say Fall in Love Alone. Like so many things about that song are just so like amazing. Like I remember that session. It was the day after Valentine's Day, 2022, and I wrote this about a guy that we were over at this point, but I was like reminiscing and thinking back to when we were seeing each other. And I was too scared to admit to him how I felt. So I didn't know if he felt the same way. He did. And then obviously that is very far and past gone, that whole thing and that guy. But I remember like we weren't together anymore and I was kind of like still sad about it. So that's what kind of led me to write that song, but in a more hopeful tone because it didn't hadn't just happened, let's say. Um and we were all kind of in that mood where we were like, ugh, like, it's all we're all feeling a little bit of that post Valentine's Day like blueness, you know? And writing the song, I remember just feeling like immediately feeling my mood was lifted, and that day was a great day. And then the video shoot, I remember it was June. So we wrote the song in February, it came out in May 13th, and then we did the video in June. So like 2 months after it came out. And we partnered up with this director named Nina Kramer, who she came in with the idea for the song. And she knew Nils, my manager, so that's how I kinda got connected to her, and she was like, your song is so beautiful, and I have this idea for, like" we she ended up making a short film at the same time as the music video that has dialogue and everything, because she just had, like, this vision for, like, a movie for this music video. And so she tells it to me, and she's like, "The car and the whole evolution of this relationship and everything," and I'm like, this is the best thing I've ever heard." And then I was like, "But what if at the end it all wasn't real?" So it was almost gonna end fine, like, the whole family was gonna end up together and it was gonna be great, but then I was like, "What if it twisted?" And filming, I'd never been, like, part of a production this, like, big. We had the car up on a trailer that was being pulled by another car, and it was all strapped in to be safe, and, like, we had to climb up into the car, like, it was just so I felt like a famous person, it was so cool, and I remember, like, I was like, because the way we were shooting was so, like, segmented where I was like, I kind of didn't know exactly how it was just gonna look in the final, I knew the plot, I knew the whole thing, but her just it was magic, like, her vision was so magical, and it created an amazing music video, which then led to the song connecting with millions and millions of people. So it was all this crazy order of events that then led me to then visiting, the Philippines and Indonesia and Singapore and hope like knock on wood, hopefully we're trying to make it happen coming back, super, super soon. So
So this is my last question.
already? What? I'm so sad. No.
If Blessing in Disguise was a time capsule, what would it reveal about you to someone who opened it maybe 5 or 10 years down the line? Like, what truths or emotions do you hope echo through the songs and tell them, this is who I was right then?
Wow, that's a great question. I hope they hear like growth. I hope they hear someone or like not naive because that's not the right word, but like maybe like a younger person going through things for the first time, relationship wise, leaving home, moving away, like your career being flipped on like a 180 degrees, like that was stuff I was going through for the first time, which were incredibly like scary and life altering, but then also clarifying and like needed. And so I hope they just I think they're gonna hear the thought process and like the how I went through all the songs, I think they're gonna hear the journey. That's what I want them to hear. I want them to hear me go from Good to Be Alone and Lead Me On, which are the oldest songs on the album, um, to sweet talker and like everything, where I'm like, I don't need you. I am so good on my own and I'm getting better and better all the time. So, and I think it will translate. So that's what I hope they hear. And I hope it still holds up in 5 to 10 years, which it so will. So.
So there, that's it. Thank you so much for your time. If you have any like final words to tell your supporters and fans, yeah, the floor is yours.
Oh, thank you. Well, I am just so grateful for everyone for being totally behind me and so ready to put this album out with me. I'm so excited for us to listen to it together and feel all the feels and, just drop all the weight that we're maybe carrying, that we have been carrying. And just, yeah, I'm grateful. I'm excited. I'm busy. I'm working my butt off. And I'm so excited for everyone to see that. And we're in it. We're seeing it right now. It's happening.
Thank you so much. It was super great to, really chat more because obviously you were very busy with the tour during your Manila visit. I'm glad that we had some time to chat then, but I'm really, really happy that I really got to know you more through this. So thank you so much and good luck on everything. I'm always here. I've been supporting you ever since. Once you announced the album, I emailed Nils right away. So
It was an amazing time. I literally could have done this for like another hour. I was literally having so much fun. You are a great interviewer. Your questions are awesome. You were reading my mind. So, yeah, I'm sure we will see each other. I would hope, and again, we're trying maybe this side of the year. I don't know. Don't confirm that in your calendar yet, but we are trying. We're trying to get out there. We want to play this album in front of the world. So we're going to try our best. But yeah, no, thank you so much for having me again. I had such a good time.